Thank you. I love it. I love not having to do it. So here we have Midge, and I'll give her a little bio. She's in New York near me. She is from Bedford, which is in Westchester, and she has played a central role in shaping and growing Bedford's 2030 climate action work for over a decade. Now program director, she continues to lead initiatives that reduce greenhouse gases, ranging from energy efficiency and EV adoption to youth engagement. Under Midge's leadership, the Bedford Take It or Leave It shed, which is referred to as a Tioli or a Tilly in different towns, is heading into its 10th year as a community resource to reduce waste. And so that's what Midge is here to talk about today. And we'll go ahead and have her. Please hold your questions to the end. I just want to make sure the speakers get their time and then we can answer questions at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Susie, and happy spring, everybody. Oh, can I share my screen? I guess yes.
You should be able to. Yeah, is there a button at the bottom that says share?
Yes. I'm sharing. I'm in slideshow. Okay. So great. I'm sharing. Everyone can hear me? Yes. Great. Okay. So I'm really thrilled to have Bedford 2030 and Artioli and to represent us today at this fabulous event. And that was a great introduction. And so we are a nonprofit in northern Westchester, New York, which is about an hour north of Manhattan. And really what we're doing is pairing community members with programs, tools, resources, anything that will help them take action to reduce waste, adopt eco-friendly land practices, and a lot of the stuff that Susie said, and ultimately, what we all want, which is to move towards a cleaner, healthier, better future. And so I'm so excited to talk about our Tioli shed or our Take It or Leave It shed. As Susie said, it's in its 10th season, starting this spring in May. We love this program. It's a free community resource to do just what the name says, to drop off household items that you no longer want, and or to come and find a new treasure. Where our goal is to promote and empower a culture of reuse. And we actually adopted a model from a neighboring community and then grew it into a very, what I think is special, unique program and shed of our own. So I'll start with how do we get started? And so as a nonprofit, we came to our board and said we want our board of directors and said we wanted to do this. And they said, if you guys can raise the money to buy the shed itself, and if you can find volunteers who will run it, because our small staff, we work full time, and so, we it wouldn't work for us to run it on the weekends. And we did do both of those things. We got some money from some donors and did a GoFundMe, and I think we bought the shed from Amish Country, Pennsylvania for just under $7,000 10 years ago. And we did recruit the volunteers, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. This is a Bedford 2030 program. It's not a town program. They're partners, but we run the program. Interestingly, it couldn't be a town program because of our Department of Public Works and union. They would have had to pay union employees to work at the shed. So we run the program. Um, and the town did give us, though, an area in our commuter parking lot, which is where the shed lives. They helped us create signs, and we close it off on Saturday mornings, May through October. So we got the shed, and then as you can see to the right here, we made it our own. We added shelves, we added signs. It's really charming, really cute, and that's how we got started. And so now, like, how do we run the shed? And it really is it runs on collaboration, and it as it says here, it takes a village. Um, Bedford 2030, as I said, our role is kind of small. We pay some insurance every year for the shed. We don't have to insure it. We create some graphics and marketing, and we let our volunteers, who I'll talk about in a minute, they use our constant contact. We create a template in the beginning of the year, and then they send a weekly email. Um, and I guess if something happens at the shed, we're ultimately responsible. Um, Our volunteers are amazing. We've had a core of volunteers who've been with us, some of them for the entire time since we started the shed for 10 years. One of the keys to success is having a great lead volunteer, and we've had a couple of different people in that role. And they really do everything from soup to nuts. And I keep saying this in a minute, I'll go even more in depth on that. Our other partner is the town, which, as I mentioned, they've given us the space. They help promote the shed too to the community. And if we arrive on a Saturday morning and a car is parked in our area, we can call the local police and they come and find the person and get the car moved. And then, of course, the community is a big part of our running of the shed. We have just an amazing group of people who are coming, and going on a weekly basis. Some people come every week, and new people come every week too. And we have a really diverse community of volunteers and customers. We have a big Latino population who both work at the shed and, make use of the shed. And if one of the questions you were going to ask me is, what's the most important thing for running the shed? It's the volunteers, it's the volunteers, it's the volunteers. And we we've had a couple of three different people have been our lead volunteer, and their role is really to manage the volunteers, to manage communications, and to really take on a big responsibility, which is to run the shed when it's happening, which is, dealing with the public, making sure everything is safe. Our first volunteer, our first leader, Philippine, some of you may know her, she's famous. She actually sort of designed the shed, gave us that light blue branding. We figured out how we, open that shed and spread out tables and create an area for shopping, for dropping things off and welcoming people. As I mentioned, we have some volunteers who've been with us the whole time. It's a really diverse group from retired community members to we have a couple of local organizations where parents and teens sign up to volunteer together. And really, so many of our volunteers care deeply and have really, made it their shed. So that's amazing. So what do we take? This is actually a little card that it's on our website. We hand it out at the shed. And we mostly take small household items. We take electronics, we take dishes, toys, vases, gardening tools. And it's clear up here what we do take. We used to take a lot more in the beginning. We actually took small furniture like chairs and tables. And at the end of the day, when we had to pack up the shed, it was like a magic trick to make it all fit. So we stopped taking some of that stuff, and we used to get a lot of like kids sports equipment donated, and nobody was taking that. So through the years, we've just learned, what goes and how much can fit in one tiny little shed. Um, and so what about the stuff that we don't take? And one of our goals is to, if something's dropped off with us, for it to either find a new life, or to be repurposed properly. So one thing that's a huge part of this take it or leave it shed that's virtual is we have a Facebook page with almost 8,000 members. And so when somebody drives up and we say we can't take this or that, we direct them to the Facebook page. So, people have found or donated everything from ping pong tables to dining room tables to couches. So large things on that. And that's also volunteers moderate that Facebook page. And so that's a really vibrant part of this. And then you can see this is the Spanish version. We have the card in English and Spanish. We give some information about what our recycling center takes. We give some information also about like our local community center. We don't take clothes or linens or any textiles at the Tioli, but the community center does. Our recycling take site center takes e-waste that's too big for us. And then also some of our volunteers, even though we don't take like a lot of medical equipment, if you get the right volunteer, she'll take it and get it to the right place. So we really try to tell people what to do with things we don't take. And then, of course, sometimes we do, when we sort through what we've got, we find that it's not something that will go. So, in a minute, I'll show you a picture. We have bins and like for electronics, for plastics, for pet stuff, for all different kinds of things. And at the end of a given day at the Tioli, we take that stuff to our recycling center or someone takes it to where it can go. So that's what that's what we do with the stuff that we can't take. And okay, moving on. So a typical day in the life of the Bedford Take It or Leave It shed. Um, so, oops, oh, I just lost my screen. Sorry, wait. Oh, how do I get my screen back?
We can still see it, but I know that's happened to me before when I've been sharing. I think the only thing to do is to
Oh wait,
unshare
no, I
and
think I'm
reshare.
back. I'm back. Here,
Okay.
I'm back. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
So the volunteers come at around 9 o'clock, and it's just a little shed all closed up in a parking lot, and we set up like sort of in this direction in an L, and then in this direction. And they come, we open the shed, it's filled with tables. We have about 10 tables. We take them out. We have like a kids' toys area. We decide kind of what we're going to merchandise that week. We've got 7 million wine glasses. We'll take those out. Um, we have, and then all kinds, and then we leave room for stuff to be donated. At one end, we set up a welcome table, and that's great for Bedford 2030 because it gets us to introduce ourselves to the community a little bit, and that's sort of our place in the shed. And also, it's really popular and we have a big crowd of people at 10 a.m. and so or before 10. So we need to make sure that they come, when we're open. We have all kinds of signs about, how long you can shop and about the shed. And so tents, and we set that up, and then we're open from 10 to 12. We used to be open for longer, but it's kind of our sweet spot. We've learned through the years. So at 10 o'clock, this is where the cars come, and there's a tent here, and there's volunteers who we try to go to the cars. We don't want people to get out of the cars for safety and efficiency purposes. And we look at what they have, and if, as I mentioned, if we don't take it, we give them a card or tell them what they can do with it. And we sort of look at it and make sure it's something that we'll take, and then we take the boxes and sort it there and put it out, into this area here where the
And I'm
shed is
so sorry,
open.
Mitch, we just need to, I know it always goes so fast. We just need to move it along a little so we can
Oh
get,
wow. Okay,
yeah.
so you guys get the picture. Um, so oh wait, how do I? Okay, great, great. So I want to just add quickly, we added things like we've got a native garden that was invasive plants there. We do pop-up repairs, EV powered, a plant swap, and seasonal stuff that we promote. And as I said in the beginning, the biggest win here is that it's so much more than a shed. It's an amazing, beautiful community that has made such a difference. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, now I'm going to introduce our other speaker who is Myles Smutney. If Maya, you can find her and pin. Excellent. So I'm going to introduce Myles. Myles Smutney is an activist and multidisciplinary artist who crafts things and environs meant to empower others. She founded the Free Store Project, which is in New York City, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and has since built a network of sharing hubs. These community kiosks can help bridge the economic gap by providing space to share resources, foods, and other valuable things. So I'm gonna pop out there. So and Myles can go ahead and take it away. And I just thought this was a nice contrapuntal sort of idea to the Tioli, and it's all right here in New York as well.
Oh my God, it's absolutely perfect. Hi guys, I'm Myles. I am an activist and also the founder of the Free Store Project. Midge, thank you so much for having me. Or Suzie, thank you so much for having me. And Midge, thank you so much for your work. We do very similar projects, and I'm grateful to be here. Myself and Susie's going to be sharing my PDF for you. I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but
Oh, Maya, can you let me share? I'm sorry.
basically, I'm going to take you guys on a journey. I'm going to take you through the story of the Free Store projects, and the PDF that we're about to share. I'm also going to post the link for in the chat. This is something that you can use if you want to, encourage or bribe space for them to allow you to present a free store in your neighborhood. What I did was during the pandemic, this was in October of 2020 in New York City, basically like, in the thick of it. The pandemic started, I think, in March, and then by October, it was this weird sort of in between where people were abandoning their hobbies. Like they would start like sourdough starters or whatever it was, but there was this hope that this would be over soon. But then there was also this fear around donating to large shelters, right? And there was also you could only rearrange your closet so many times. You can go to the next slide.
Okay.
If possible. Cool. Here we go. So this photo right here, this is a project that was done in Chicago, Illinois. It was by a group called Ill Humanities. This came across my Instagram feed and inspired me. They did this with one location in the south side of Chicago and also outside the Rock and Roll McDonald's. What it is a boarded up storefront. And in New York City, we had plenty of them. Before the pandemic, there was like a recession. There was also just like greed and stuff like that with Soho. So a lot of locations were boarded up. A lot of things were closed. And then with the pandemic, it just got worse. And I decided that I wanted to do something similar where they had just, Ill Humanities had come to an agreement with, I believe, Target, thank you, where they had gotten these school supplies and other things. And they just created the space that said for the people. I knew that I didn't want to go necessarily like the corporate route, but I knew that there were so many goods. There were so many things that were available in New York City that I could refill these things every single day, all the time. And this was my goal in the beginning. I mean, eventually I had 200 volunteers in 17 different locations and through teaching others to do it. But in the beginning, I was like, I could just collect things from the street and run around and refill shelves. But we can go to the next. And basically, the project was born. It does act as a bridge. What was mentioned in the bios, it's something the free stores can connect people. It connects people with too much to people who have nothing or too little. There's no access, or there's no barriers to access. There's no signing in. There's no red tape. You don't have to prove anything. There's no lines. We have signage for everything in multiple languages. We have Chinese, Polish, Spanish, English, but when you're at the free store, there really isn't a language barrier. When you're at the free store, when you're at this space, this public, you can go to the next slide. There we go. This very public center, you're standing there and someone's walking up and they have stuff in their arms, right? The communication happens. Connection happens. No language needed, and it's really beautiful. And it's the opposite of putting something into a Goodwill bin or something like that, where you just throw it into a metal bin, you hear it kind of clunk the bottom, and you have no idea where it goes. With the free store, you can literally see somebody put on a pair of shoes that fit them, that were yours, etc. It's a really beautiful thing. And this problem, my solution to this problem began in the pandemic because so many different buildings are boarded up, but it's not a pandemic problem. This is an everyday problem of having excess and having people who need things and the people who have no ways to get them together. Yes, there is buy nothings and stuff like that. But again, there's no language barriers here. You don't need Wi-Fi either, and it's it just happens and it's magic. You can go to the next slide. So what if we were to create something that had no barriers, no red tape? What would it look like? Next slide. It would look like the free store. Yeah, boom. This is a huge one. That space. This is fine too. No, it's okay. Whichever one. It's like shelves. I put shelves on outside of a abandoned building. When I was picking locations, I was picking I was thinking in the recesses of my mind of different intersections within the neighborhoods that I'd worked or grew up in or walked through or whatever that were just slowly decaying. So I knew that these would be areas where I could ask for forgiveness instead of permission. With this location, that's a whole long story I don't have time for, but if you want to hear it, just email me. Go to the next slide. Oh yeah, see top right too. Here's there's the signage that we have in the middle here where it's just we have our yeses and nos similar to the take it or leave it shed. We have the things that we accept and things we don't. We did furniture for a little bit, same thing. We didn't have the space for it, right? So we couldn't we'd get all these like beautiful like chairs and things like that, but everything had to be contained to it being like a safe uh like transversible, like you could be able to get through with a stroller and not have things in the way. So we took everything, and we also worked with different networks like Ruth's Refuge or different or Housing Works, even to be able to redistribute things that like we couldn't take. So we were basically a conduit, or some people's like first foray into learning how to give. So it was great to be in that position. Go to the next slide. And this is one of my favorite locations. I don't have a favorite. I have favorites. This one was in Greenpoint, and you can see how well organized it is. And we tried very hard to keep it this way. And we had a whole team of volunteers that were dedicated to it. And the volunteers we had volunteers, we had a Slack system, and we had, all this accountability and this community. But we also just had our neighbors. And again, language, like there were people who we just knew, like they show us like baby, like photos of their kids. We intimately got to understand them, and we didn't really know much. We couldn't really talk, but we could really communicate, and we could really connect. And this space too, it's very user friendly. There's hangers, there's a pole, there's some shirts already there. So what are you going to do with your jacket? You're going to put it there. There's shoes that are in one section, right? So it's like, where are you going to put your shoes when you come to donate? You put them right. It was very good. Prevent people from dumping, girl. Signage helps. Volunteers being present helps. Also, these people that like are like the volunteers and like the team members or just like our neighbors, they are so protective of these things. Like they will tell you to pick up your stuff. They will tell you to put it away. I've been yelled at. Like when I was trying to fix it, someone was like, "What are you doing?" Da, 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 da. Like I'm like, keep that energy for someone else, not me.
I hate to rush you, but I would love to leave just a few minutes for questions. So if you could just wrap it up, so we have just a few minutes.
I will. We can
All
go to the
right.
next slide. The
Okay.
point is that the neighborhood takes care of these things. The neighborhood comes closer to it. And it's a beautiful thing when we can build trust that way. And the whole point of this is it's people powered. I love this picture. But yeah, we can go to the next slide. Well, we can go back if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one has a fridge in it, which is awesome. Just want to note that this location was in Harlem. We can go to the next slide. And here we have what we did was similar to the take it or leave it. We did many things. We did treasure hunts. We did book reading. We built a free library, and then we also did free story time for kids. We did free book fairs. We did satellite events that were based from the free store. It was the same thing. We got to branch out from just this little kiosk in this one little center to the rest of the city. So it was really beautiful. Next slide. Yep, here we go. Trust. This is a big thing, like the longer these free, it was just so different. It was so great to see people's attitudes switch and change. And like some people would scoff, and then they'd come back and they'd have like fresh baked bread, the next time they came because it'd been there for a while. Like I feel like with a lot of communities and a lot of like good things, it's like they don't last, or there's this idea that like it'll be taken away. So once it's there for a while and everybody kind of comes together to like protect it, the more receptive the neighborhood is, and the more like it builds and promotes positivity. And you can't buy that. You can't. We built it organically, and it was really beautiful. Our volunteers, like, they're baristas, or they work at the grocery store, or like the shoppers work at the grocery store. So we get to like really interact with our neighborhood in a new way. Volunteers were in the same building and didn't know that they were in the same building until they met at the free store because Slack set them up. It's just beautiful. So we can go to the next slide.
It's not like in my new system. Whoops.
You are doing great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your kindness.
Oh my God, of course. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we ended up actually working with Staples. We worked with different brands. There was this woman who had a play that didn't come out, but she had all this merch with the date of the play, and it was like June of 2020. Wasn't going to happen. So we ended up, being like kind of like it was really interesting to see the things come through the space. But next slide. Yeah, it's just another emotionally beautiful photo. but this is the story of the free store. This is how it was born. I built 8 locations between October of 2020 and December of 2020 because I really, really wanted to have a Christmas. I really wanted to provide for the neighbors during Thanksgiving, and I wanted to provide for them for during Christmas. And I really felt like that, like burst of energy in the beginning and the burst of support really set the framework for the next years that these free stores were up. New York City is busy and bustling, and a lot of the places don't exist anymore. This location in particular was outside of a building that was being remodeled and renovated. Now it's remodeled and renovated, and it's a condo, right? So there's no boards in front of it. There's no plywood, so there's no free store. The neighborhood still misses it. They still love it. And we try to do different events with them when they do block parties and stay connected. But we're still looking for more sanctioned opportunities to create these. Because again, these were rogue. I did these rogue. So the goal now is to be able to work with like NYCHA or libraries or public schools to be able to have like a blend of sanctioned support and infrastructure and using the experience that we've learned over the years. We can go to the next slide. Yep, there we go. I'm going to put the link in for the PDF so you guys can have this for yourself.
Perfect.
And then we'll take some questions, I think.
Sharing. Yes, questions we can definitely get to. Okay. So this was a question, it came up originally during the Tioli talk. It's, do you have any type of tracking of volume, such as weight of donated items and or weight of taken items? Oh,
Yep. We've tried that, and our board of directors doesn't get it, but it's a fast and furious day, and there's like if I told my volunteers we're going to stop and weigh things, they would just laugh at me and say, no, we're not. And they're right. So we estimate that 90% of what gets donated gets repurposed.
Wow. Oh, here's a question. How do you prevent people from dumping? I used to volunteer at ATX Free Fridge, and is that Atlanta, I think? And that had a fridge and clothing stand, and people were constantly, Austin. Okay, thank you, Austin. People were constantly dumping trash and unusable items. And I've heard this at Goodwills and stuff too. Do either of you guys have a answer for that?
I saw that question pop up when I was talking, and I mentioned that like we have protectors. There are nanas that will chase you if they see what you're doing. I am not kidding. Like, and it goes with the same that would yell at me when I was trying to fix it. Like, there are fierce protectors of these spaces, and the best thing to do is just to interact with the people that are doing the dumping and let them understand what the importance of it is. But I'm sure Mitch has different experience and can speak to it.
Sadly, we have no protectors, but we do have a fake camera on it. And we had a really nice, cute sign in our Tioli brand that said not to leave things, and that didn't work. And then we like actually got an official like bright red sign made, and that made people, I don't know what the psychology of it is, but for the most part, we still like once a year get a big dump of stuff, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's great. Here's a question. How long, I think this is for Myles, how long do pop-ups tend to stay up in various communities? Trying to think through temporary setups versus having a shed or stable place to host consistently.
I would, if I were you guys and I was going to start, I would go the shed route. I would go the sanction route. What I did was exhausting, but I did it. And I think it's because I'm built to be able to handle that kind of like whatever.
I
But
know it was also a time you were responding to that was particularly driven by need, and it was very emergent,
I didn't know we were going to go past Christmas, let alone 4 years. Like I really didn't. But we had some fighters, and also like like a lot of the building permits were paused, so it kind of extended the time and then extended more. And that story that I was going to share is a landlord had cut down the shelves. And then I was coming, like somebody told us on Instagram, I was coming. And when I got there, all the dudes from across the street that play dominoes had their ladders out, had their tools out, real tools, not my tools, but real tools, like music, beer. And they were rebuilding it, like as I'm getting out of the car. Like it was beautiful.
Through community involvement. That's amazing. Yeah. I have a question, and I think it's probably more for Tioli, but because so at repair cafes, we sort of had this thing where we try to repair things for people. We don't want to necessarily be repairing things for people who are then reselling them. So, and we have had that kind of come up as an issue where we know that people are coming in and then they're going to resell it and instead of hiring someone to fix their clothing that they're going to resell. Do you ever have people who are taking too much and you have to sort of mitigate, like, do you think people are coming for a resale and do you deal with that?
So that is an issue, and I think our philosophy is a lot of the people that take it for resale are people who need to sell something and make some money. And we're in it to repurpose. We definitely have some people who come at the beginning and take a lot of stuff, and actually that's hard for some of our volunteers because they have so much invested. So we really, in a really kind way, we allow people to shop for like 20 or 30 minutes. We've had community members complain and say our volunteers are taking too much stuff, which, but that, that's and that's anyway, they're volunteering day in and day out. But, I guess there's a big difference between like taking something out of a car and having the whole world see you, then put it in your car. So easy to solve. If you're a volunteer and you want something, let's put it in a bin. So, but it's not a terrible issue, but it's something that we've had to problem solve for.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's interesting. Is there anything else you guys would like to share and wrap up? We're a little over,
I
but
just want to say, Miles, I loved your story.
Dude,
So
I
cool
loved
to
you.
know about what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I want to shed. I want to sanction little. That's awesome.
well, it's right. It's safer, right? Then at least it's open when it's open, and there are people watching, and people aren't. I mean, do you ever have people come through and just like raid what you have, or your
I
theory is if
mean,
they need it, they
it's
need it?
yeah, we don't police it. Like if it's open 24 hours, and it's open 24 hours because like bartenders will bring the lost and found after their shift, right? And it's like free. Like we don't need to guard it because like what are we guarding? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was the best part. I could sleep at night because I didn't think like what are these and two with volunteers, like it's like, oh, they're donating too much stuff. And then when they're not, it's like, oh, there's not enough stuff. Like it's just, what are you gonna do? It's just better for it to just like play into the hands of the community and let them respond to it.
And so Midge I was not aware of this, and this is my bad, but 2030, Bedford 2030 is a small nonprofit. It's not
Yes.
part of the town. I did not know that.
No, we're not. We're
Mm.
it's not it's a nice partnership. We don't have all of the constraints that a government has. So, but we're good friends with the town. So it's nice.
That's wonderful. No,
And people from anywhere can come to our shed. You don't have to be from our town.
absolutely. It's like a repair cafe in that regard. I just didn't realize the difference. This is a question here. Do you have any SOPs, best practices, or documents for folks working on starting up a free store to use? That's for Miles. But I have
I
the same
got
question for Mitch, if you guys have things to share at some point.
our link tree from our Instagram and on our website. There's two guides. There's one guide is like a how to like find the perfect spot, blah blah blah. The second is our manual, like it's what all the volunteers, how they pitched in their different stories. So it's like it's like 60 pages, but it's a lot of information, and you can definitely take a look at it through our link tree again, or link is on the website. And then this PDF that I've shared today that you helped with, that also has information too on like what a free store basically is. So if you want to take it to a different if you want to take it to a site and pitch it as an idea, this should be able to work, and the guides as well.
Midge, I see you I just dropped your
Yeah,
Instagram.
so I need to make a little guide, but I would be delighted if anyone wants to talk to me. I love the Tioli and would be so happy to share anything that would be helpful.
It's wonderful. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. This was such a nice contrast because even though we're in the same area, the city versus the
Yeah,
suburbs or the country, it's a very different way to do it. And I'm
yeah.
really glad to connect with Miles because I always get, asked about how to set up a network of cafes in the city. And it's just New York City in particular, but cities are just a different nut to crack. And I don't have that information. So I really appreciate the resource.
I'm a resource for you anytime. Just
Appreciate
let
it.
me know.
Yeah, wonderful. All right, I'm going to wrap it up because we're over and I do have another, I have to, but thank you guys so much. This is going to be recorded and available very soon. And thank you so much for sharing. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody who attended.
Our pleasure.
Many thanks. Happy spring.
I love these programs and I just want to support people who want to start these and see what is possible for just people like us to do in our little towns or our cities.
Isn't that crazy? It
It
just
is.
takes one person. We can do it.
But you have to like think, oh, I can do that. I can do that. I can
Yeah.
see that. You know.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Bye.